All right, let's get back into it. Final Fantasy IX Remake rumors are intensifying amid anniversary hype. This is from Ethan Gotch at Kotaku. This year marks the 25th anniversary of Final Fantasy IX, and Square Enix has announced some celebration plans for the PS1 era RPG. The publisher said it's preparing various projects, that's a quote, including new figures of the main heroes that slightly alter their appearance. It's enough to have longtime fans once again believing that the perennially rumored Final Fantasy IX remake is real. Here's a quote. Zidane and Garnet from Final Fantasy IX are now available in Formism, the company announced today, alongside a new soundtrack vinyl and other merch. To commemorate the 25th anniversary, they have been recreated in a three-dimensional form with a reinterpretation of the texture of their costumes. Yeah. Is this how both characters might look in the upcoming remake? Asks Ethan Gotch here. I think it's probably something. It's probably pretty close to something if it's not exactly what this is. And this goes back to the NVIDIA leak where we saw Final Fantasy IX remake in there. Everything else has come true. Yes. This is probably happening this year, right?
Oh, it's definitely happening this year. As you say, it's 25th anniversary. They do have a website up in Japan, the 25th anniversary project website. Yes. I'm trying to think timing-wise when I think it's gonna come out.
Well, there's an event this week.
Yeah.
Switch 2 announcement, Switch 2 launch.
And Square often, things like Octopath, Triangle Strategy, they've like had a good relationship with releasing things on Switch in the past.
Not obviously, Final Fantasy so much, but we do know they want to change that
Final
strategy,
Fantasy so much, yeah. Well, and they, obviously like Dragon Quest HD, 2D, 3D, 1 and 2 remakes they announced.
The thing there is Final Fantasy has continued to be associated with PlayStation, and Square Enix is just not happy with the way that's gone recently.
Right. Yeah, they're not interested in that continuing to be like the hill that they die on. So it is very possible that this is something that we could see during the Switch 2 Direct.
I think that associating Final Fantasy IX Remake with the Switch 2 would be a good move, because
I agree,
because that'll build a certain level of excitement, and then that'll spill over to all the other platforms it comes out on. Like PlayStation gamers, many of them love Final Fantasy already. Many of them like grew up on Final Fantasy, so they'll be there for that game no matter what. Getting it and saying, well, yeah, but it's a Switch 2 game, like maybe not first and foremost, but just think of it that way. So people who get a Switch 2 want to get it. I think that will really help Final Fantasy IX Remake hit very hard in a way that Square Enix has been looking to have its games do for quite some time. Final Fantasy IX, I guess, for the very young kids out there, the people know Final Fantasy, but this was like a return to the fantasy elements after 7 and 8 got a little bit away from that, kind of went, did their own thing a little bit. And so it was like a return to form back on the PS1. And I remember thinking like, yeah, that's what they should be doing with Final Fantasy. That looks cool. And I've liked what I've played of Final Fantasy IX, but I've not played a ton. Your expectation for the level of remake, clearly not Final Fantasy VII remake level.
Not Final Fantasy VII remake level. No. I mean, that they like really truly were remaking from the ground up. And I think that where Final Fantasy IX has a little bit of an advantage is that it was already kind of living in that nostalgia world. So to me, it makes complete sense that it's going to be, updated translation. There will be voice acting. It'll have all new graphics, a new in-game engine, but I'm sure I think that they would be remiss to make it not turn-based combat. I'm just like, and especially like given the success of Atlus's games, like the Persona series metaphor, where we do see that they have been very successful continuing to do turn-based combat, and these Dragon Quest remakes. I think that again, it's going to be upscaled. It's going to be fresh translations, voice acting, all the stuff that you've come to expect in a modern video game, but just done really well.
Yep, I think that's right. I think it's I think I probably point to the one that I think Mike always brings up is Persona 3 Reload. I would point to what happened with the Crisis Core, the PSP game, getting remade, where it's like they replaced all the assets, and then underneath it's pretty much the same game.
Yes, exactly. They replaced the assets with the Final Fantasy VII Remake assets. They basically took
Yes.
that engine and put it into Crisis Core, had some quality of life upgrades in terms of the combat system, but they really didn't remake the game.
Exactly right. So, and I think that I'm sure there's like quality of life features and stuff actually put in
Yeah.
Final Fantasy IX here because I think they'll put a little more effort into this, but it's going to be somewhere among those games, and
Totally.
I think that's going to be very welcome to a lot of people. So, yeah, we'll see. Hey, there's no guarantee it's going to be at the Switch 2 event. This thing could show up at a Summer Game Fest thing, could come out much later this year. We'll see. But, you know,
I just can't wait to play it.
Yes, 25th anniversary stuff gets announced. All that merch is there. And then you hit people with the trailer and the direct on Wednesday. That sounds pretty good to me.
Yeah.